Hi, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your January 2022 full moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Scorpio be affected by the January 2022 full moon? Angels, and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So our angels are untangling a lot of the mess that we have gotten ourselves in our lives. We have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy. So if we're represented so if we have Gemini energy within our natal chart, it is represented by the Lover. So it's coming through very powerfully at our root. Then we have our inner self. We have the Four of Coins. And we have the Six of Wands. We're moving on from some sort of vampiric energy, and we're starting to celebrate ourselves again. That's going to be very important during this time, during this moon, and for the 2 weeks after the moon. As this energy affects us, we're going to find that we're breaking a lot of vampiric ties that we had around ourselves, around the way that we want to move forward in our lives, around our prosperity, around our own success. There's a sense of you can't be cause. And it's some sort of nonsense. It's some sort of, chaos that either we grew up in, we were told when we were younger, we were told from a friend, from a parent, from a guardian, from a lover. It's just going to be this tie that has us only getting so far and then saying, I'm not deserving of more. In our inner selves, our emotional selves, we have Judgment. We have the Queen of Wands, which is fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And we have the Ace of Swords, which is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is a gift for our mind, for our voice, for ourselves, for clarity of being. We then have the Wheel of Fortune coming through again in our public arena. I love that connection from our root to our public arena. We have the Seven of Swords, which is betrayal. And the Ten of Swords, we've come to a completion within our mind about the traumas, around the hurts, around the disappointments that we have been through within our lives. So let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. This is the Hermit. It's Virgo energy. We have to be very mindful during this time. And again, not just this full moon, but the 2 weeks after this full moon, when that spotlight is still greatly affecting us, about how we turn inward, about maybe even closing ourselves off from the rest of the world and only seeing ourselves. So that necessarily doesn't sound like a bad thing, but this is to a harmful extent, or this is in a harmful way. It is a sense of, I'm not taking outside advice, I'm not connecting with other people, I'm feeling very alone, I'm feeling very isolated. I believe that suffering will increase my mental clarity or increase my well-being, and that suffering is like kind of in the Buddhist sense that life is suffering, and so I have to go deeper and deeper into that pain without any lifeline out. And that can be a very traumatic place to be. That can be a very intense place to be. It can be something that we do in a spiritual setting. It can be something we do with guidance, like joining a, monastery for a time, or some sort of monastic life for a short period of time if we want to, or for a longer period of time if we feel so compelled to. This could also be some work that we do with a therapist or, again, a spiritual advisor. But this is going to be a very intense path to do on our own. And we might find people pulling away from us during this time. We might also find that we pull away from others. So just be very, very mindful. Very, very, very mindful. Our chakra energy, angels and spirit guides show me clearly, is universal light. This is the soul star chakra, located 6 inches above our crown. This is the light of who we are. This is a light of connection with divinity and spirit. This is a light of saying, this is what I need, what I want, and what I desire from my life, and being inspired. We're going to find that this is a time of intense and beautiful inspiration and aspirations for where it is that we want to be, not only during this 12-week period, but also for the whole kind of tone of 2022. So on the 17th of January, we have the full moon in Cancer, and it is the wolf moon. It is bringing forward what we hunger for. Now, the moon is opposite the sun. That's how all full moons begin. And with this comes the focus of our family, our homes, and our relationship. It all comes into our awareness, as does the opposite forces in our lives, our home and our work, other people's wants and our wants, other people's needs and our needs. This is a time when we start to seek balance, and we really need to listen to the inner voice within us. We also need to listen to a lot of pre-held beliefs or pre-held, kind of prejudices, ideas, a strict kind of sense of this is the way it's supposed to be. That's being unraveled by the Wheel of Fortune. Like, things are really starting to change. And so listening to that inner voice, listening to the spiritual guidance from within us to walk maybe a different path than we expected, that's going to be something very, very powerful. The full moon is going to be opposite Pluto. This is going to affect us quite powerfully because we are ruled by Pluto. So this comes in quite intensely. This aspect will see our emotions really intensifying. We will be feeling more vulnerable because of mood swings, because of fears, because of jealousy, because of doubts, and simply becoming more emotionally plugged into the world and to ourselves makes us feel more vulnerable to the world's emotions and to our own emotions. That's why we can retreat so profoundly during this time and get way too much in our own heads and start really embracing our own drama, and that can lead us down a very intense and undesirable path. Some of us find this absolutely exhausting. So do not let yourself be manipulated by other people's feelings. Do not let yourself be manipulated by your own feelings. This is a very heightened empathic time for us. Now, for those of us who are seeking to work on our empathic gifts and our own psychic development, this is the perfect time to connect. But it can draw us in really, really intensely. So just be aware of this. Have a way to ground ourselves. Do not get lost in other people's emotions, other people's feelings. Also, do not get lost in your own emotions and own feelings. Now, the moon is going to be conjunct the fixed star Pochiron. Pochiron is ruled by Mars and by Mercury. It is of the nature of Mars and of Mercury, which makes us stubborn and judgy and hasty. And, it's good to be a bit stubborn, but this kind of takes it to the extreme. And we're also going to find that during this time, we believe force and violence can solve our problems. Maybe we're not going to get physical, but we're going to get rage filled or are angry or overwhelmed and just kind of lash out at things and think that should fix it, it's not going to fix anything. It's actually going to make things worse. So just be very, very mindful of this. At our root, we have here the Wheel of Fortune. We have our angels really undoing a lot of the messes, a lot of the chaos that we have found ourselves in, a lot of the trauma, a lot of the drama, a lot of the intensity. And this is going to be a time where we start to really see ourselves, stepping out of a lot of patterns that weren't good for us and stepping out of a lot of chaos that surrounded us. But as those knots are being untangled, we're going to find that things intensify. We're going to find that we can be a little bit edgy. And not edgy, on edge. We can feel just our nerves are on edge. It moves us to the Lovers. It moves us to healing. It moves us to connection. It moves us to embracing our passion and what we love and what we desire and what we need within our lives and how we're moving ourselves forward and what it is that our heart is calling for. We're going to see ourselves, Scorpio, connecting more profoundly and more intensely with our heart, what we love, what we want, what we need, and who it is that we are. The Lovers also, has this flexibility to it that we're actually going to find very intriguing. We're going to really embrace kind of that Gemini energy, that questioning, that seeking, that, moving from things that aren't right for us rather instantaneously, not sitting there and waiting for things to become too much. And we're going to really embrace that, Scorpio. We're going to find ourselves saying, as everything is untangled, do I love this? Do I want this? Yes, no, and we're going to make maybe hasty decisions at times. So we have to be mindful of Pochiron coming in and making us be hasty or just being hasty in and of ourselves during this time because of this Gemini energy, this Lover's energy at our root. But we need to also listen to our hearts and follow what we love and follow what we need. It brings us to the Four of Coins. We're really starting to release a lot of negative energy around what we have hoarded, what we have held onto, what we had thought was true, whether it's not true at all, whether it's negative, whether it's positive. This has shaped us in one way or another. And we're going to find ourselves needing to say, enough is enough. Enough is enough, I'm moving forward. Enough is enough, I'm breaking these ties, or I'm becoming aware of these ties and I'm shattering them. I'm not living by them anymore. And as we start to untangle the mess that we're in, or the mess that has come around us just through accumulative years, we're going to find that we start to release a lot of negative, toxic patterns, a lot of vampiric energy, a lot of draining patterns that have been in our lives for quite some time. And it moves us to the Six of Wands. It moves us to that place where we can start to celebrate ourselves again. We can start to celebrate ourselves for the first time. We can start to see our worth. We can start to see our value. Our eyes are changing. In the way that we look at ourselves, our eyes are changing. And that has us awakening in our hearts, awakening to our emotions, awakening to what we love and what we need, and finding ourselves rising out of doubt and fear and negativity and chaos and hurt and in pain. And it brings us to a place where we start to embrace our fire. And now, as water sign energies, Scorpio, we might not want to embrace our fire. We might find it to be overwhelming. But this is a time when our emotional heart, where the peace that we long for within ourselves starts to say, but I need to shine. But I need to shine. But I need to embrace what I want and who I am within this world. I need to embrace new dawns and new beginnings and new instincts and new understandings. And I need to see myself move forward much more powerfully, much more openly, much more intensely than I have ever thought that I could, or I ever thought that I would. And this becomes a very game-changing time for us. We're starting to also embrace our sacral chakra, our creativity, our sensuality. It doesn't mean that we have to be promiscuous, or it doesn't mean that we have to be overly sexual within ourselves if we're not comfortable with that. What it means is that we start to say, this is my sensual being, this is my body, this is myself, and I love me. I'm connecting with me. I see me not as somebody who constantly needs to improve, who needs to lose the 5-10 pounds, who needs to, dye their hair, or, grow taller, or gain more muscle, or, whatever it is that we are criticizing ourselves for not being. We start to say, but this is who I am. This is what I'm passionate about within my life. My voice gets to matter. I get to be seen. And if the only person who sees us is ourselves, not in the chaos of this is how I want to change, not in the sense of this is who I was in the past, but this is who I am in the present, I'm showing up and I am honoring me, that becomes a game-changing time. Do you know how many people live their lives and never see themselves, never honor themselves, never understand, themselves? That's a terrible thing. And so here we're starting to see that. We're starting to embrace who it is that we are. And it brings us to the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is God's source spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, cutting away our doubts and our fears and negativity, bringing us clarity, bringing us insight, bringing us a greater understanding of who we are, where we want to be, and what we desire for our lives. It also brings us something that we have been working towards, practicing towards, honing our skills towards for such a long time, that when this gift comes, when this clarity comes in, it's like, was that what I was missing? Like, is that the way forward? It's going to be kind of a awing experience. And it brings us to the Wheel of Fortune, which here says karma and destiny. We are going to see ourselves unfurrowing towards our karma and our destiny, towards what we desire, towards what we want, towards what we need within our lives, towards the essence of ourselves, towards the essence that we were born with, towards the little piece of our cosmic history or from our, family history that has set itself within us, that has grown us, that has grown with us. We're seeing ourselves entering into a new season. We need to be able to let go of the old one. We need to let also go of what we no longer want, value, or desire within our lives. And yet, we can want to let go, and there's going to be a part of us that still holds on. What if everything falls apart? What if I don't have enough money to buy socks? What if I don't have enough money, so I need to, buy food, so I need to stockpile, or, whatever fears come in that make us think there's going to be a sense of lack. There's going to be a sense of I don't have. And so I need to hold on to. I need to, stock up on whatever it is that is bringing me fear, that is causing me to be afraid during this time. And if we do that, we're not following our destiny. We're letting other people's narratives start to rule our lives. We're letting fear come in and start to define us. It brings us to the Seven of Swords. We're looking at the ways that we have been betrayed within our lives. This says theft, and dishonor, and dishonesty. And that's going to be something that we're really looking at. The theft of our innocence in believing that everybody is good. The dishonesty that comes in existence. It can be as broad as that. It can be, I was lied to when I was little. They didn't share when they said they were going to. And that made me distrusting of the world itself. It can be something very small that triggers us, that sets us off on a certain path, or that starts us to build walls. And we have to be aware of this. This is also the dishonesty of the world around us, of the people that have surrounded us, of, when we trust and we got betrayed, when we loved and our hearts were broken. And so as we're looking at this, we're also looking at how we need to heal, what it is that we have held onto negatively for way too long. And as we gather up our knowledge, we start to leave certain things behind. And it brings us to the Ten of Swords, which says endings and finality and closure. And it repeats that as a mantra. Endings, finality, and closure. We are starting to get the closure that we need. This is the darkness before the dawn. This is the seeing the hurts and the pains and the disappointments, the chaos, the despair. And as we do, we're also going to pull the swords out from our backs. We're going to say enough is really enough. I'm not going to be defined by disaster. I'm not going to be defined by pain. I'm going to step into me. And as I step into me, I embrace what I love, I embrace what I want, and I'm armed with all this knowledge that had once tried to destroy me, that I once thought I could never, find my way out of. Now I'm finding my way to myself. It brings us to our lunar message. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. So at our root, we have, what do you need to release? And this is for us to embrace creation, to embrace the creation of our dreams and our desires and what it is that we want. As we're untangling so much, what do we need to release in order to embrace what we love? What do we need to release in order to embrace how we want to create our lives and what we deeply desire? It brings us to our lunar public arena selves, which is again that Gemini energy. Here we have the full moon in Gemini saying the answers you need are coming. Pleasure. It will bring you pleasure. It will bring you joy. The answers that we are seeking are starting to reveal themselves to us. And it's as we release the vampiric energy, as we release the hold that the negativity has over our existence, over what we desire, over what we need within our lives and within ourselves. It brings us to our lunar emotional self. And it says nothing is yet set in stone. And this is release. So here, as we release and start to find pleasure, as we realize that nothing is carved in stone, it doesn't have to be a certain way. We get great pleasure from a sense of embracing our power, embracing clarity of, saying, I can do the extraordinary. I can walk out of, this box that I've put myself in, that the world has put me in, and I can start to say, there is more to me than meets the eye. It brings us to our lunar public arena self. And it says here, your hard work is paying off. This is the new moon in Capricorn. Your hard work is paying off. And it brings us gratitude. It brings us a sense of connection. It brings us a sense of understanding and bridging gaps that we didn't even know needed to be bridged. It brings us to our lunar inner self, our lunar subconscious message. And it says, hold your vision, boundaries, and set. As you hold to your vision, we need to set positive, clear, distinct boundaries, not only with our world, but also with ourselves. What am I going to say yes to, and what am I going to say no to? How am I going to be manipulated? How are things going to become overwhelming? Or how are things becoming overwhelming? So that's going to be very important for us. It moves us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. It's the Death card. Scorpio, this represents us in the major arcana. We have to be very mindful of getting in our own way, of sabotaging ourselves. It moves us to our subconscious chakra energy, and that is self-mastery. This is the solar plexus chakra. I'm starting to master what it is that I want within my life. I'm starting to see that what I desire has merit, has worth, has power. And as we see this and as we claim this, we are embracing our rooted self, which is the Emperor. And the Emperor is Aries energy. The Emperor is power. The Emperor is distinction. The Emperor is saying somebody gets to rule my life, and it gets to be me. I get to claim my power, claim my authority within my existence, know what I want, and go after it. Even if we're saying, Dane, I don't know what I want, that's okay. We can make little steps to say, maybe I'm going to follow a path of happiness, or maybe I'm not going to rise to every occasion of getting angry, or maybe I'm going to look and spend just a few moments quietly meditating. I love to look into a candle. This candle here was lit for protection and for cleansing. That's the energy to it. Just stare into a candle flame. Let yourself breathe. Let yourself relax. And just a few minutes of that. It doesn't have to be long. Just for 1 minute, if we can do that, we can really start to put ourselves in the present, which is such a gift. It's such a gift, and it's such a hard thing to do. It moves us to our subconscious inner self, and that's the Hermit. That's Virgo energy. What are we hoarding? Okay? Because in medieval texts, in even stories of today, we have dragons that hoard away the gold. I was a medieval history major in college, and I always found it so fascinating that dragons didn't need gold, didn't need, maidens, didn't need any of this, but they took what the human being most valued. And that's what we're having guarded and hoarded away from us. What is it that we most value, that we're not turning into, we're not seeing, we're not letting become a part of our lives and ourselves, we're not embracing? That's going to be a very interesting thing. And it is, to be able to say, I'm taking this away from the monster that lives inside of me that says, this world is not good enough for it, or I'm not good enough to let this dream come true. Whichever one it is that our little dragon is saying to us, we're going to start to say, no, but I need to bring it forward. I need to make an offering to myself, not just to my fears and my doubts. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self. And it's the Four of Cups. We're not seeing a gift that's coming our way. We're just not. We're so focused looking the other directions, wanting it to be shinier, prettier than we could have expected. And yet, if we knew who made the cup, if we knew the significance of the cup, we would take it with reverent fingers, reverent hands. And so this is a time where we are starting to connect to dreams and desires that we deeply want and passions that we need to see. And we need to turn away from the humdrum, from the monotony that has been around us for too long. It moves us to our subconscious public arena self. And that is the 9 of Cups. And here it says happiness and vitality, optimism, and joy. And that comes around us like a mantra. Happiness, vitality, optimism, and joy. We are starting to find our wishes coming true. We're starting to find ourselves again. We're starting to embrace what we love, and we're starting to see what is beautiful within ourselves and within our world. All right, Scorpio. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let us end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this moon and the time to come. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Scorpio, and may you have a blessed moon.